Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw NBA podcast. I'm your host, Matt Miller. I am joined today, once again, by Brady Klopfer, James Hollis, and welcome back, Pete Toll, my old co-host. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah, it's been a while, but I had to be here for the Sixers, so
Yes, absolutely.
it's all good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, everybody knows this is your team, and Pete just said it. We're going to do the Philadelphia 76ers, continue our team previews. We're just going to jump right into it. Pete, because you are our Sixer guy, I got to go to you first. Right. I want to talk about the offseason moves they made. You bring in J.J. Redick, the one-year deal, Amir Johnson. You draft Fultz, James Michael McAdoo coming over from the Warriors. Furkan Korkmaz is coming back. They drafted him a year ago, but he's coming over. What did you think of this season's the offseason for this Philadelphia team?
Well, I love that they swung for J.J. Redick and actually got him. Kind of side note, J.J. lives in outside of New Jersey, so his wife basically wanted him on the Nets, but the compromise was the Sixers. So good deal, on a one-year contract. Basically gets to be the veteran in the locker room, can help Stauskas and some other guys with their shooting. I think with this year getting a guy like Amir Johnson can help in the big man rotation as well, because we all know Jahlil Okafor is not going to be able to defend. He's not going to be able to stay healthy. If Embiid kind of struggles to stay healthy throughout the year, it gives them another big body to put down low that can kind of do a little bit of the dirty work, rebounding, get you, some defensive stops here and there. He's not going to block a lot of shots, but can at least kind of change some shots as a defender there. And then guys like Korkmaz, he's not going to play very much in the NBA, because if you look at the Sixers kind of roster, they've got a lot of young guys that they've got to fit into spots that are unproven. So we'll have to see kind of what happens with Korkmaz's development in the G League this year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What about the drafting of Markelle Fultz? How do you like this fit?
I like Fultz as a fit with them because he can be a scorer. What's gonna have to happen is he's gonna have to work on his decision making as far as getting in the lane and being a little bit quicker with his decision making on what to do with the ball in his hands. Because in the summer league, he settled for a lot of kind of contested shots. I didn't really like that, but at summer league, you got to try different things out, see what works, see what doesn't.
Absolutely.
I think his outside shot is going to be something that he can utilize pretty well. But I'm going to taper expectations as a Sixers fan. I don't think he comes out blazing. I think because he is a point guard, it's going to take him a little while, even though he's going to share that responsibility with Ben Simmons handling the ball. I wouldn't expect, 13, 14 points a game from him, right off the bat. It's going to take a little bit.
Absolutely. James, how did you like this Philadelphia offseason?
I mean, if you got to grade it, you got to give him an A+. Because I love Fultz. All right, I think Fultz is going to be amazing. I think some people are killing Boston for trading the number 1 for the number 3 and another draft pick in the future. But it makes sense for the timeline of where Boston is and what Boston is as a team. A rookie point guard is not going to come in and be able to get a lot of minutes. That's what Fultz needs. And I just think that was a move that was best for both teams, because Philly got their star and Boston got not only the player that kind of fits what they want to do positional basketball, they also got another future asset. So enough about the Boston side of it. From the Philly side, they got a guy who could possibly be, one day like one of those top 15, 20 players in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Deal, kind of like star, but I'm curious to see how him, Embiid, and Simmons fit, because they are all three of those guys are that kind of player, maybe franchise cornerstone player. And it's never a bad thing to have talent on your team, so this will be interesting to see. I've only watched limited film on him, but it seems like he's a player. He's legit. Like he said already, J.J. Redick coming in and Amir Johnson provided not only a veteran presence, but they both can still play a little bit, especially J.J. J.J.'s still very effective, and he provides floor spacing. Him and Covington, get a lot of open looks with Embiid and Simmons on the floor. And that's the main thing is with J.J. Redick, is that team desperately needed like some adults on the floor who can actually make some smart basketball players, The big key, of course, is Embiid's health. If he can play 70 games, this team's probably making the playoffs. So I mean, it's probably. I can't imagine being a Philly fan has been better, since AI's heyday.
Pete, you can answer that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're right. There hasn't been much excitement other than the AI days, to be honest.
Absolutely. Brady, what did you think of this offseason for the Philadelphia 76ers?
Oh, I'm with Pete and James. It was a terrific offseason. I love that they moved up to get Fultz. That's just a move you have to make when you're in a position like they are. You have a chance to take a guy who everyone is saying is a consensus number one pick. That's just an opportunity you have to jump on. And he fits really well with that team, I think. You get kind of a score first point guard next to a pass first forward. That's a modern fit that can do a lot of damage. They can work well together. The JJ Redick pickup was absolutely tremendous, not only for the things that he can do as a veteran, helping Stauskas, helping Korkmaz, but just the fact that he's going to provide that spacing that's going to open up the floor for young players like Simmons and Fultz. And so often we see players like Fultz or Simmons come into the league and they struggle because they're on a bad team. They're the first option. The whole defense is focused on them. And now you have one of the best players in the league in terms of moving without the ball and shooting and drawing defensive attention out of the paint. And that's just going to make life easier for all those young players. So really, they capitalized on multiple different areas where they could improve and really didn't do anything to hurt their long-term future. They didn't have any of those dumb contracts where you're going to be paying a role player $18 million in 2021. So they got a lot better in the short term, got a lot better in the long term, and really did nothing to hurt themselves.
Absolutely. I think I'm with everybody on the JJ Redick signing. It's $23 million, but it's 1 year, and he's the perfect guy to bring in there, like Pete even said, to help out your guys like Stauskas. And I think he can help a guy like Covington out as well, moving without the ball and all that good stuff. Obviously, that being the veteran, and then you bring in Markelle Fultz in the draft. I mean, you can't go wrong there. I mean, the guy, to me, he kind of reminds me. He's not exactly alike, but he has that Brandon Roy game. So he can play off the ball, on the ball. When Simmons is out, Fultz can have the ball in his hands, vice versa. It's just they can do so many things with this lineup, having a guy like Fultz. And, back to JJ, he's going to be the guy who spreads the floor with him. And in today's NBA, you got to have floor spacing. And then Amir Johnson, just another veteran presence that's going to help them. I want to ask this, though. It's not really an off-season move, and I'm going to go to you first, James. Joel Embiid, we know he's going to be up for that contract extension. What does Philadelphia give him the extension? Because it's going to have to be a max deal for a guy who, for 3 years, has played, 33 games? So you give this guy the contract, the max deal.
Yeah, you're gambling on him. First of all, somebody's playing Grand Theft Auto right now. It's not like they're moving and grooving through traffic. That's cool. It's all about his health, and I guess it's almost like a good thing. I don't know, man. This is where it's tough because it's almost like you want to. Do you want to try to bargain with him? Say, hey, man, we want to pay you as much as we can, but we don't know if you're healthy. Do you get a Steph Curry like deal on his first extension, right? Where Steph Curry took $12 million a year when he was definitely at the time worth 17, 18, 20 million a year. But you also run the risk of pissing him off by pushing for that too, right? So it's a dicey time because you don't want to upset this delicate chemistry that's growing on the team. They seem to really like each other. And honestly, let's be real. If he can play 65, 70 games a year, max contract. Dude,
absolutely,
it's all about history and moving forward. Only they and their medical staff and Joel kind of know. So I think you offer him. I mean, you got to offer him. And you don't want to get a situation like Gordon Hayward where you short him a year or two, and then so you kind of offend him and he won't at the end of that. So I guess maybe you bank on that what you're building is going to be special. And maybe you only try again for, if you're going to max him, you try again for 3 years, 4 years, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't. Go ahead.
Let me ask this, James. What would you think if they came to Embiid and they offered a 4-year, $80 million deal as a fair compromise to say, okay, well, we won't max you for the $25.4 million that you would get, but we'll give you 20 a year, banking on, all right, well, if you're healthy enough, you can prove it throughout the course of the next 4 years, then we'll give you a max deal after that. Would you do it?
Again, see, like if I were Philly, sure. That sounds like, you'd hand him that deal in a heartbeat. From his camp and his side, can they get more somewhere else? Mm-hmm. Right? Because if he can get more somewhere else, then you're like, oh well, you guys aren't really serious about keeping us here.
Right.
We can get a full max somewhere else. I don't think no, there's teams that have that kind of money, but they're taking that immense risk and gamble too. Mm-hmm. So it's so tough. He was so like I said this. If the way he played, if he'd given you 70 games last year, he should have been like every all NBA team, and he's the best center in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he could have vied for defensive team as well, because if you look at Philly's defense when he was on the court, what did they give up? Like, I think 99 points per 100 possessions, and then it jumped up to 108 when he was off the floor. So look at the difference just in that.
I'm going to be one of them real quick.
Oh, God.
There was a stat that when Joel Embiid is on the floor, they're a playoff team with their defense and their offense. They have the defense and offensive rating of a playoff team when he's on the floor. So I guess you could take that with a grain of salt, though, because it's such a small sample size. But, I mean, maybe it means something,
For sure.
Right? Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that's important. The problem is he's got to stay on the floor. But Pete, do you give him the extension, or do you gamble?
I throw out the offer. I said 4 years, $80 million. You roll the dice and see. I mean, I think he's been loyal enough to Philly that they can come to a fair compromise, because he's got to realize, okay, you played 31 games, and basically this would be what you're coming into your 4th year in the league.
This is his 4th year. Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be fair to both sides, and knowing that they have to kind of fill out the rest of the roster over the course of time, and if he truly wants to be upper echelon of the Eastern Conference, once LeBron, if he moves west or whenever he retires, if you want to be there with Milwaukee, any team like Boston, whatever teams are up there, and really have a fighting chance, then maybe you do say, okay, well, my health's been a risk a little bit. I'll cut off, $20 million, to basically help flesh out the rest of the roster to be fair. And then, okay, I can get a max deal the next go round and do that. Maybe not, $20 million less, but some kind of fair compromise.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm going to go over to Mr. Fast and the Furious over here, Brady. Do you give? Do you give?
Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. No, that's all right. That's why I turned your volume down. Do you give him the extension if he wants that max deal?
Absolutely, without thinking twice. Because the thing is, it's a risk certainly, but the way the league is set up, you have to get lucky if you want to compete for a championship. You look at the Cavs winning a championship because LeBron left. They got 3 number 1 draft picks in 4 years, and then LeBron decided to come back. The Warriors, Steph Curry fell into their laps. Draymond Green fell into their laps. Steph Curry's contract allowed them to get Kevin Durant. There's no team that wins a championship that doesn't get lucky. So if you have a player like Embiid, who, if healthy, is one of the 10 best players in the league with a very real chance of being one of the 2 or 3 best players in the league. Sure, it's a risk, but you have to take that risk because the best case scenario is so high that you have to take the risk and hope you get a little bit lucky, because otherwise you're just capping your ceiling at being a decent but not great team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I say give him the contract. I'm with Brady. You gamble. I mean, if you want to win a championship, you got to have Joel Embiid. I think as much as I love Ben Simmons, as I I think you do still have to have Joel Embiid. So I give him the deal, take the gamble, and see what happens. I mean, that's the best shot they have, I think. Because what are you going to do? Rely on Jahlil Okafor, Pete?
Nah, no.
You got him in your back pocket, but I mean, it's Jahlil Okafor, the big man that's going to win you a championship
come February. So I'm not worried about Okafor.
There you see, exactly. I think this is a good time to go into the depth of this team. And I'm going to go to you first, Brady. And we'll start with the starters. You got some guys in there that, you got Saric, Covington, and guys like that who are all going to vie for this starting lineup. How do you see it shaking up to start the season? How do you see this lineup looking?
Well, I definitely think it'll be Fultz and Redick in the backcourt, Covington and Simmons, and then Embiid.
Okay.
That to me is a pretty clear starting five. I know some people want Sarge to be in the starting five, but I don't think that's a good fit. I think you got to take that versatility and defense that Covington offers. Sarge fits that typical sixth-man role, coming in off the bench, being able to put up 15 points or whatever. He'll still get big minutes, but this starting lineup has to be about Simmons, Fultz, and Embiid. And Covington is a role player that meshes with them and allows them to shine in a way that Sarge doesn't. So that would be a pretty clear starting five for me.
Yeah. Very good, very good. James, how do you see this starting lineup looking to start the season?
Maybe they don't initially start Fultz from day one, but he's definitely by the first couple of weeks in, they get his feet wet, he'll be the starter. Definitely Redick, and I think definitely, like Brady said, Covington has to start. His skill set meshes, so he doesn't need the ball, and he just plays defense. He meshes perfectly with like Simmons, Embiid, and Fultz, and just that 3-and-D guy. They've actually groomed him to be that in the last few years. So it'd be silly to have him come off the bench. My thing about Dario Saric is that is he too good for that role? Right? He seems like he's a really, really good player, and he knows it. And how long until he starts making maybe a little noise about, maybe this isn't the place for me if I'm just back up here. So, but yeah, it's going to be, and then of course, lastly, Embiid. That's my starting.
And another thing with Covington, he's 6'9", so he's got great size for a small forward.
Oh man, and he'll play some small ball for in this team.
Exactly.
This team's going to be. This team is such a modern team because even though they're built around a hulking 7'3" guy, he's nowhere near just like a quote unquote classic center. No. And they can be so versatile, man. It's gonna be like basketball porn because they got like a bunch of 6'8" guys who can switch everything. Well, Philly's right there too. They're gonna be so tough to beat.
I mean, couldn't they possibly? Maybe they could trot out a lineup of Ben Simmons at the point guard, Covington at the 2, Saric at the 3. I can't think.
Yeah, they
could
try to jumble like that.
You could have a bunch of 6'8" plus guys out there. I'll say Stauskas at the 2 because he's like 6'7", isn't he? Stauskas.
So they're going to be versatile.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
6'6", I think, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be deep. They're going to be versatile, and I think Embiid's going to allow them to stay big while still being, very switchy and play fast. So it's going to be scary for the rest of the league.
Yes, I totally agree. Pete, how do you see the starting lineup looking out for your Sixers?
I kind of like what James said, where Fultz might not necessarily be the starter night one, but long term, obviously, after a couple games, he might be in there. But it all depends on training camp, how the team meshes and kind of what Brett Brown's looking for. I think you've got Simmons at the 4, which obviously is going to have ball handling responsibilities. Covington at the 3 because his defensive prowess. A lot of people kind of sleep on his defense, but he's one of the better defenders in the NBA at that position. And what a lot of people don't realize, because most people probably don't watch the 76ers because they've been so bad, the past few seasons, is that Covington basically guarded the best player night in, night out that other teams had and really held his own. And he was up there in defensive rating And I'm not a huge let's jump into all these stats and do all that. But if you look at the stats, they match the eye test perfectly of what he can do. I think as he recovers from his injury going into training camp, I think you're going to see him kind of basically excel on the offensive end as well, because he's going to get open looks from the 3-point line, because JJ Redick's going to be able to come in starting at the 2, draw a lot of attention. You've got Ben Simmons being able to drive the lane and kick. And then you've got Embiid from the post. I mean, he's able to pass out wherever he wants to. So it'll be interesting to see that lineup of Embiid, Simmons, Covington, Redick, and Fultz, just how well they can do. But it all hinges on the health of Embiid long term. But I do like Rashawn Holmes as the backup center, and I think he's going to have another good year. It's kind of that do-it-all guy that kind of glues the pieces together off the bench as a big man. I like him a lot more than Jahlil Okafor, and I think he should play over Okafor.
Hey, so Pete, I got a question for you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to play devil's advocate for Jahlil. I've been in the camp of, he just doesn't fit in the modern NBA. But with actual spacing, the NBA players around him, is it possible that he is more effective as a backup? And now his skill, he'll have more room to operate. He's beating against second units. I'm hearing he's in the best shape of his career. Is it possible that he comes in and he actually can? Because he's obviously I think he's a better talent than what's the backup guy's name you just named?
Rashawn Holmes.
I think he's more talented than Rashawn Holmes, but we know his foibles, right? He doesn't rebound well, doesn't move his feet well, doesn't defend in space.
Right.
Is it possible
offensively?
Yeah,
in an ISO situation, like in an ISO post situation, I think he can go to work easily and give you 8 to 10 points quickly. But he's going to give up those same points on the defensive end if he can. And this is a huge if he can come in motivated, in shape, and show any kind of resemblance of a average post defender. I think he has a really good chance of blossoming and upping his value to where the Sixers can say, okay, we can't pay you a ton of money to keep you, but we'll move you to a situation that's good for both us, getting something in return, and for Okafor in prolonging his career, maybe even as a starter in the future.
But here's the thing: if there was ever a time for a guy like Okafor to want to prove everybody wrong, you'd think it would be now.
It has to be this year. I mean, basically, he has no value. They couldn't even get a late first-round pick for him as of the draft. So that tells you how far his value has fallen and what he's kind of looked like around the league. But if you look across the board, not a lot of teams really need his necessarily need his post scoring. So he's got to show that he can at least rebound, at an average level, and then defend at an average level to kind of give a full complement, because not being able to stay healthy, we haven't really seen him at his best either. So, it's kind of, you can look at both sides of the coin there, that, Okafor has to come in motivated. He has to blow people away and get floor time, because realistically, Embiid is not going to play 75 games this season. It's not going to happen. I'm kind of in the camp of, if he gets 50 games, I'm going to be happy with that.
So you think there's going to be some games they sit him, or you think he's going to be hurt?
I think they're going to be very cautious at the beginning of the year with his playing time. So they're going to sit him for, say the first 25 games. They'll probably sit him at least 5 of those 25 games.
Okay.
Wow.
Just to be on the cautious side, because you got to look at, this is their franchise guy. They're about to potentially could max him. If he goes down with another injury, there's no way they max him. And how the hell would they get any kind of value from another team if that's a route that Brian Colangelo, would go? And he likes to make bold moves that sometimes don't make sense. So, you never know. So you want to be cautious with him. Now, if he comes out and puts in 70 games, that's not going to be great for Okafor's long-term value, because he's not going to get a lot of floor time. But I think that, Embiid's looking at very maximum 60 games played.
Ooh, that sounds like a bold prediction right there, I think. We got one early from Pete. I mean, that's a fair prediction, though, because history tells us that, that's what we would want to look for.
I mean, he played 31 last season.
Yeah.
So.
James pointed out something very interesting about Okafor, though, which is the first step to him being motivated. He's in the best shape of his life. That sounds like a motivated guy to me. He wants to come and show people he can play in the NBA. He can be a serviceable defensive player, rebound, maybe block a shot or two here and there. He's 6'10", 6'11". I mean, just by jumping a little bit and putting his hands up, he should be able to get something, So I think that's big to him coming in shape. It's going to be an interesting season for the starting lineup, though. I think I'm with. I think I actually think Fultz is going to start. James and Pete, you could be right that he may come off the bench and maybe you start T.J. McConnell at the beginning of the season. So it could go either way there. Obviously, Redick will be the 2. I like Covington at the 3 and D guy, 6'9", size. Like James said, another good guy to have in a small ball lineup at 6'9". Then at the 4, Ben Simmons, even though he's going to do a lot of the ball handling, and then of course Embiid at the 5. Let's get into the bench now, and I'm going back to Too Fast, Too Furious over here. Brady, how do you see this bench looking?
Well, they got a lot of options, which is kind of crazy to say. So I think they're going to have a lot of toys to play with. Obviously, Saric is going to get a lot of minutes there. I think we'll see, a fair amount here and there for guys like McConnell, Stauskas, even Anderson. I think the center position is what's going to be really fascinating to me, because on the one hand you have Jahlil Okafor, who has that high pick pedigree, and also they realistically should be looking to try to trade him, and you can't trade him if you don't play him and show that he has some value. But on the other hand, I think Richaun Holmes makes a lot more sense with what the team is trying to do. I think he makes more sense with Brett Brown's system and with the direction that this team is moving in. And even playing some small ball, even James Michael McAdoo, who, as a Warriors fan, I do not think is a good player at all. But
man, hating on your former Warriors.
But he's that athletic, hyper athletic, can get up and down the floor, provides a lot of energy that the league is moving towards, especially for a bench piece in the front court. So that's the big question mark for me.
McAdoo's on that 2-way, so he's not gonna end up on the actual
he's a
roster very
candidate.
much. Yeah, I mean, if he's on the actual roster as a roster player, that means the season went bad.
That's very true.
That means somebody got hurt.
Yeah,
that's very true. Which could very well happen.
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
So I think they're going to play around. Saric is obviously going to get a ton of minutes, and I think from there on out, and Amir Johnson obviously is going to come in and get a lot of minutes. But from there on out, I think they're going to. I think Brett Brown's really going to play around.
Hold on, Brady. Do you really think that? I feel like Johnson was brought in to be a locker room guy, and he doesn't have that much left in the tank. I think he brought in mostly to mentor guys and as a nice trade chip. That $11 million will come in handy.
Yeah,
you think he's going to get a lot of minutes?
Maybe not a lot of minutes, but I think he'll get consistent minutes. I think he'll be getting 10 to 15 minutes a night. Just because they don't have a bunch in terms of front court depth. You got Okafor and you got Holmes, but Johnson is kind of that.
So here's the thing, though.
He can get a lot of rebounds. He can body people up. So I think he'll get kind of just that consistent 10, 12 minutes.
Here's the thing, though, Pete. And Pete, you could probably answer this better than any of us. Saric is going to probably play at the 4 off the bench, right?
Yeah,
there you go.
Saric is at the 4. The only thing I can say that Johnson will fit into a situational role because you're going to have Simmons move to
he'll play some 3 and some point a little bit.
Yeah, so you'll have guys kind of move up and down. So that's where Johnson will get his minutes. But I've got to kind of lean towards what James said because I think that Johnson's kind of more on the tail end of his career, and he's going to be brought in to strictly be that vet guy and help a guy like Simmons, Saric, those guys.
So kind of like what they wanted Elton Brand to do a year ago.
Yeah, now Elton Brand's the GM of the the
Yeah.
Delaware.
Yeah. But at least Amir Johnson can give you 5 minutes if you need it.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey.
he can. And
You know what? You guys are being nice. I watched Amir Johnson a lot last
Damn.
season.
You're the Celtics guy.
That's
Go
fair.
ahead.
You're
Yes.
the authority here, James.
I respect his hustle and his heart, and I know everyone loves him because he's such a pro. He moved like a mummy a lot, and he was just out there. No, he looked like if the guy from the Munsters, Herman Munster, was out there playing power forward at times.
Damn.
And yeah, dude. So you don't want him playing a lot of minutes. You know, if you're going to play a fast up tempo team, you really don't want him on the
That's
court.
why he can play 5 minutes a game if you need it, though, right?
You probably, dude. You got minutes for your boy Darius Saric. You got Holmes. You got Jaleel Okafor.
Yeah.
You keep him on the glass and break in case of emergency, dude.
That's like I said, if they need it.
That's fair.
Right?
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
All right, I
fair.
stand
That's
corrected.
fair. Pete, how do you like this Philadelphia bench? How do you see the who gets the minutes off this bench?
I mean,
It doesn't have to be 5 guys because some teams go 8.
I can give you the whole entire bench, but I mean, I'm not gonna drag it out. But,
what does the bench rotation look like?
I mean, I know you're high on Stauskas. I like Stauskas, but I mean, he's going to be in a fight for some minutes because you got to realize Jared Bayless is back this year. Bayless is going to be fighting with T.J. McConnell, and he's going to be fighting for Stauskas for both guard spot minutes. You've got Timothé Luwawu. You've got Justin Anderson also needing perimeter minutes as well.
I like Timothé.
I do too. Yeah.
And so, I mean, Stauskas, I mean, as much as I like him, if he's not shooting the ball well, he may not see the floor some nights. And as far as the, Dario Saric is going, Dario is going to have to show that he can hit shots. We all know that he can get creative, basically driving to the hole, kind of creating that way. But he's going to have to hit perimeter shots to be able to be on the floor for, 28, 29 minutes, not, 24 to 26 minutes. So he's going to have to be able to do that. Okafor is going to have to defend and rebound better. Holmes is going to have to put a complete package together, including the offensive game, to be able to beat out Okafor. And then going back to the perimeter guys in Anderson and Luwawu, that's going to be a fight too, because if you look at it, the combinations that Brett Brown can put out there, Simmons can slide down to the 3. You've got Saric that could, you don't want him to slide to the 3, but he can. You've got Covington that could slide up to the 4. So you've got endless possibilities.
Which means you could go with a D'Antoni 8-man rotation or even a 9-man rotation if you wanted to do that.
I think they're going to they'll start the year with a 10-man rotation, and they'll knock it down to 9 as they get, going, just because of, they're a little bit leery with Embiid's health, obviously. And then Covington's coming off an injury as well, from last season. So they're going to take training camp a little bit, cautiously with him. And then Fultz got, rolled his ankle pretty bad in summer league. So they're going to kind of, make sure they don't, stress him too much. And McConnell is capable as a backup as well. He's going to fight for that backup spot.
I like McConnell
with Jared Bayless. Now, I'm not a huge Jared Bayless fan, but what he can do in that system off the ball, I like. But as far as, a traditional point guard role, no. But that's what you have.
And the last year he played actually had a decent amount of playing time in a season. Mm-hmm. He shot close to 43% from the 3-point line. Mm-hmm. So he can hit open shots. He can hit the setup shot. So James, how do you? I know you touched on your guy Amir Johnson a little bit. What about the rest of this Philadelphia bench?
I mean, the key is versatility, man. I'm beating that drum this offseason. Every team wants to be able to throw out multiple lineups and give teams multiple looks. And like we said, I always say his name wrong. Timothé Luwawu, Furkan Korkmaz. They got then we talk about Covington. They're going to be versatile. They got guys that can roll out who can play multiple positions and defend multiple positions. And it's like you guys all nailed it. For the first probably month and a half, it's going to be basically plug and play everybody. Let's see what we got, and then they'll streamline that. Well, honestly, a team like this, they might keep that up for half the season, right? And
they could. That's a good point.
see where they are about mid-season and be like, all right, well, we're in the playoff hunt. Let's tighten this up, and let's get our rotations down now and shorten it to about 8 players. So outside the first 5, it's going to be Timothé. He's going to get his minutes. We know they're going to try to showcase Ja and give him minutes, keep him probably, let's see if they can make him a productive part of the rotation to either showcase him or see if he fits, right? And bang him for trade. Yeah, Amir really shouldn't see the court too much. And I like the McConnell and what's that guy's name? Stauskas. I like that.
Yeah.
Stauskas. I think Stauskas, so he was drafted really high and he was disappointed in Sacramento and he was playing on a really bad team. Again, I think with a talent upgrade around him, we might see the best form of Stauskas where he's out there and he just, he does his best JJ Redick impression. And you guys got a young guy who can hit threes and maybe create a little bit off the dribble. But, we know Stauskas was a great shooter in college. If they can unlock that a little bit, they're onto something. So I hope he earns his minutes in the rotation.
He gained confidence at the end of at the middle of last year, and it really carried through.
He's sneaky athletic too. He's not like he's not Andrew Wiggins athletic, but he's not JJ Redick athletic. He's like that bad. I mean, he can jump. I mean, he's dunking on people. He can handle it a little bit in the pick and roll.
The thing about,
let me say real quick about Stauskas. This is a good example of like nature versus nurture. Going to Sacramento in that terrible toxic situation and having to tiptoe around Cousins, it really stunted his growth and it almost it almost had him out of the NBA.
Yeah,
where,
I Cousins made him cry in his first practice. So yeah, they got in a heated argument, and because Stauskas wasn't where he was supposed to be, Cousins lit into him and basically made Stauskas cry. So basically, tell me that that's not going to kill your confidence. You're already in a shitty team. There's no direction around the team, and then your star player. I mean, what are you going to do? Speak up and say, go back at the star player? I mean, it's not going to happen. So
I heard Cousins like choked him out on the plane or something one day, or like was in his face and threatened to fight him. And once he kind of, he backed down, of course, but like after that, he kind of rode him hard. It's a bad situation, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And Stauskas going now, he's got the perfect person to learn from in Redick with the footwork around the perimeter, just being able to cut around screens and just to kind of tirelessly move, because the problem with Stauskas is a lot of times he'd plant himself in the corner and, not knock down that shot. It's like,
he makes himself very easy to guard then.
Right. And he has a little bit of athleticism, off the bounce. Now he can't get all the way to the rim and he's not going to dunk all on people, but
he's capable, not all the time, but
so you're optimistic. I'm really
what he did his rookie year against New Orleans. He went right down the lane, boom, right over. I can't even remember who it was. It was on Ajitsa. It was on Ajitsa.
Wow. Hey, dude, I got footage of Chris Paul dunking in a basketball game too. So, but that's not what he does,
I know I'm just saying, it shows us that, and that's where I think JJ is going to help him defensively more than anything. Stauskas is more athletically gifted than JJ. He's longer, he's taller, and JJ is a serviceable NBA defender. I think that's where JJ's really going to help Stauskas on the defensive end, teaching him how to use angles and anticipate, and stuff like that. And I think you're going to see a big year from Stauskas. I'm with everybody. I think you're going to see 11, 12 guys get minutes to start off, in the rotation. I think it's going to be matchups. Who matches up with who best. And I think that's how Brett Brown's going to play it. And he's a fantastic coach. We've all talked about it in the past, Popovich's disciple. So I think he's going to figure it out. The fact that they've stuck with Brett Brown this whole time tells me how much faith they have in him, because they could have easily let him go a couple years ago. But he'll figure it out.
If things go south this year, then
that's true.
I've heard this argument. I've heard this argument about Brett Brown before, about how he's lucky to have a job or he was on the hot seat. Dude, when you're bad on purpose, there's no way you pin that on the coach. You can't. You got to like a bonus almost, because he sat there through your whole plan and ate those losses. So they can't be put on him, right?
No, and that's fair that they're giving him so much this opportunity to now coach them when they are good.
Well, you got to realize though, you have a new GM that is totally different, because Brian Colangelo does a lot of unpredictable things. Because of kind of having his dad in his ear, Jerry Colangelo, and just making suggestions and just kind of make some bold moves. So if Philly struggles, say even if it is injuries, they're going to blame it on Brett Brown because
that sucks, dude.
And that's terrible because he's done
horrible.
everything that he can to put those teams. I mean, look at the passion that he comes out with.
They're competitive. They were competitive 2 years ago. They were terrible, but they were competitive. Mm-hmm. They were in games going into the fourth quarter. They just didn't have the horses. Now you have the horses if they can stay healthy. So I really like their depth. Like James said, they like the versatility. I mean, you can throw out so many lineups with this team.
Lineups.
It's gonna be scary. I mean, that's why when we get to our little bold, prediction hot. I mean, I really like this team. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen me say it before. So some of you may know where I'm going with my prediction. But I really like this team. It all depends on health, of course. It's all based on them being healthy. Because
I know what it's going to be, but I'm not.
You've seen it. You've seen. No, you can't spoil it. You can't spoil it.
I'm not.
But let's go into our season outlook now. I'm not going to give where I think they're going to finish. I'm not going to go that far because that's my Let me go to Too Fast, Too Furious again. Brady.
Oh, it's perfect timing. I'm getting out of the car, Matt. I promise. I'm no longer too fast.
Hey, for everybody listening, watching, whatever, don't do what Brady's doing right now. He's a bad example for America. So I don't want you guys doing what he did.
I'm just for everyone out there. I was not driving. I was in the passenger seat. I'm a safe person, but don't podcast and drive, anyone.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So hold on. So all this time, somebody had to be mute while you were podcasting in the car because I haven't heard a peep out of whoever it is.
My girlfriend was just very kindly driving there silently.
Well, I also moved his volume down because you could hear the sounds of the road. So I had
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry. I thought you were dating a computer. I thought you were one of them.
Well, yeah, that's my girlfriend. She's a computer.
Okay.
That's why we couldn't hear any sounds. That makes sense.
You ever seen
I thought you were the guy from
The Real Girl?
I thought you guys from Deuce Machina, where you were dating the robot.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Yes.
Right, anyway, that's enough of that.
So,
season outlook. I think I'm gonna make my outlook based on Embiid being relatively healthy.
Everybody being healthy.
He will
Go
be.
with everybody being healthy.
And I think they're gonna be in that 6 to 8 range in the East. I really think they will.
Whoa.
They're incredibly well coached. They have a lot of talent. Simmons, I think, is a type of player that is going to be able to provide a lot of value despite being young. We don't see that a lot with rookie players, and I think Fultz will be a little slower, just point guard scores. You don't see them provide value as much out of their rookie or their second years, but
unless
I think
their name is Dennis
Simmons
Smith,
will be able to. And I think Embiid's going to be his normal, amazing self and healthy. And I think they get into the playoffs in that 6 or 8 range. And I think if Embiid plays 75 games or so, I think they could get as high as the 5 seed. Nice.
I like it. James, how about you?
There's no way they can fail this season. I don't care what happens to them. Make the playoffs, miss the playoffs. The only real thing that everyone's concerned about is the injuries, right? And I hate to plan for injuries. So I'm looking as if they're going to be, moving forward, they're going to be fine this season.
Yep.
And I think Embiid's going to play 65 to 70 games, and a lot of those misses are going to be because they're going to be very cautious with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to be optimistic, man. They definitely have a shot at that 8th seed, and they're, I think, down to the very wire. They're going to be in the running for it, and people are going to be into them for a playoff run. But dude, you gotta crawl before you walk, and they haven't even crawled yet. So I think it's almost like when Minnesota last year. Oh, they're going to win 50 games. Well, it's hard to win 50 games. It's hard to make the playoffs in the East. All right, so now we're playing car wash. All right.
Yeah.
They're gonna be fun. They're gonna have some really good wins. They're gonna have some great games, but they're gonna have some losses just for being a young team, I think. And if they surprise me and make the playoffs, I'm all for it, and I'll happily say I'm wrong. I say they win 38.
Okay.
Hold on, how many they win last year?
They won.
So 29, I think. Was it?
At least win 10. Oh, you know what? They easily, I think, to win. Wow, that's
they could. That's what I'm saying. And it's the
I'm saying they easily win 10 more, dude. They easily win 10 more.
Yeah, this is
Wow, I guess
this is a playoff team.
I
if
gotta
they're
kind of say
healthy.
it. Yeah, it's tough. I'm gonna say because if I say 40 wins, that should
They're
make
in
the playoffs in
playoffs,
the East,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna say
so.
I'm gonna say 40 wins, but they just missed the playoffs.
Okay. Very fair. God, y'all are gonna kill me on my bold prediction.
Oh, here we go.
Not now. It's not happening now. It's not going to be nearly as
Save
crazy.
you for last.
Yeah. What about you?
28 wins. I'm sorry. I gave them one extra win. 28.
That's all right. 28, 29, same thing. Where do you got this team this year, Pete?
All right. So I've already said that Embiid's going to max out about 60 games. So that tells you that basically they're going to be kind of, as James put it, they got to crawl before they can walk. So I actually have the Sixers out of the playoffs. And the reason is you've got Simmons has got to fit into the NBA. You've got Fultz as a scoring point guard, has got to fit into the NBA. Saric is, basically he was in contention for the rookie of the year in one of the worst rookie classes in a long time.
I think that's unfair. Saying it just that the scenario. I think it's going to end up turning out to be a pretty decent rookie class when it's all said and done. They were bad last year, though. That part is fair.
I mean, you're going to have guys improve, obviously, but just based on kind of where things fell. I'm with him. Like, look, Malcolm Brogdon is a good player. He's a nice young player, and he's going to have a nice long career. He's not what you would consider a rookie of the year. Correct. Exactly.
No.
And then Saric, his shooting, 31% from three. That's not going to get it done.
No.
He's going to have to be able to knock down, that outside shot as a stretch four. There's just too many variables with health, related around the team. I had them exactly where James has them, 38 wins.
Yes.
I think that puts them, right there in contention for eighth. But there's teams that are all going to be kind of vying around that range because the Heat are going to be better. They missed the playoffs last year. Detroit's going to be better. You've got teams that potentially got better even though the East got weaker.
I'm not as high on Charlotte, Detroit, or Miami. I'm not as high as Alana is on Miami, but I think they'll make the playoffs. I'm not super high on Detroit or Charlotte. Charlotte's got to prove it to me.
No, see, Charlotte, I think they'll be all right because they have pieces that are already proven, at each position.
That's the thing.
And their coach,
yeah,
is really good, and Steve Clifford, and very underrated. And then Detroit, come on, you've got Reggie Jackson that was out for most of the year last year. He's going to be, healthy this year. That means they'll be better. Yeah, and come on, it's the East.
They've got no East, but you've lost. You lose KCP. That's a huge part of it.
But you gain Avery Bradley.
You gain Avery Bradley
all day long over Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Avery's better than Avery's everything that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is supposed to be. He's already there.
The only thing KCP has on him, he's a little taller.
Yes.
Even so, you still got guys like Stanley Johnson's going to have a better year.
I hope.
He almost has to.
I like Stanley Johnson.
Me too. And then, like I said, getting Reggie Jackson back, you're going to end up better. Even if you can get 4 wins better, that's going to put you.
I think they're going to. I definitely think they'll make the playoffs. Detroit. So, now, I'm not going to tell you where I've got Philadelphia finishing right now.
Lord.
I'm going to save it for the end. I'll say this: they're going to be in the top 6. I've got them in the top 6, definitely. I'm basing it on health because. I know. Here's why, though.
Okay, if they're in the top 6, then go ahead and give me your top 6.
Cleveland. I'm not going to do it in particular order.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be in order. Just give me your 6.
So I'll say Washington, Cleveland, Boston. I did it that way, so I'm not doing it in any order.
Right. That's fine.
Toronto,
Ooh.
Philadelphia, and who would be my other one? I'm going to say Milwaukee. I do really like Milwaukee. I think Thon Maker's going to make a huge jump.
Even with Parker injured?
Yeah. I think Thon Maker's going to make a huge jump this year. And remember, you're also now. Look how they were pretty good last year, but they didn't have Middleton. Now have Middleton from the start, so I think they can. Weather the storm.
Okay, all right.
That's who I have in my top 6 right now.
Okay,
maybe Miami. I'm with James on maybe James has Miami higher, but I'm more with him. They're not 10 10 and 31 bad, but they're also not like 40 and 11 good. I think they're a 42, 43 win team.
Miami?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I see Miami. So
I would say 43, 44 potentially.
Yeah, I've got them about 42, 43. We'll see. They could be better. You know, we could all. I mean, I'll eat crow. I'm not. You know, hopefully Alana's not listening because Alana's going to let me have it for that.
Where did Alana have them?
She's got them, I think, in the top 3.
Oh, come on.
Hey, I'm going to have her listen
Alana,
to this.
I know you love Miami, and I love you. I love listening to your podcast with Serge, but I can't get behind top 3. You're going to have to explain that one for me.
I could be wrong. I don't want to put words in her mouth. I'll hit her up and we'll see if that's where we, and I'll have her say it. But that's my top 6. And here's my reasoning, though. Remember what I told you earlier? With Embiid on the floor, this was a playoff team, offensively and defensively, right? Mm-hmm. They had nobody last year. They've got. I know Fultz is young. Simmons hasn't played. They got Redick now. Covington's a year better. Saric is a year better. They've got horses now. That's why I'm really high on this team. Obviously, I'm basing it that they're going to be 100% healthy all year. This could totally come back to blow up in my face when 3 guys get hurt and they miss it.
Then phrase it this way: if they're 100% healthy and have everybody play at least 75 games or more, you've got them top 6. If Embiid realistically sits on a few games because management doesn't want him to play, where do they fall?
And you can sit Embiid against the Bulls or the bad teams.
Okay, but if Embiid and say Simmons don't play over 70 games, realistically, where would you put?
And I'd say it's going to be a crapshoot. They're going to vie for the 8th seed. I'm basing it on them playing at least 70 games.
See, that's where you got to clarify. Everybody watching or listening is going to be like, "What?"
I'm not just saying. Yeah, I think they're going to all play 70+ games. Maybe Embiid plays 65, but I think they can still survive because I love Ben Simmons. Like, call me crazy. It's not a bold prediction, I guess, because it has nothing to do with the season. I think Ben Simmons is going to be a top 5 player in the NBA in 3 or 4 years. I really like the guy.
That's a pretty hot take.
Yeah, I really do. I really love the guy. And Brady, you've been on with my guy Charlie Jones. He said this. Me and him were talking. He's on board with me. I know it's crazy to say
Where's
that.
Where's the jump shot going to come from, though?
That's going to be one of my. You know what? Hold on.
Hey, guys. Hey, LeBron James did not have a jump shot for his first 6-7 years. Exactly. Let's stop with the jump shot things. Rustin didn't have a jump shot for his first 5 or 6 years either.
Watching his, obviously he played in the NBA, but we saw a little bit in summer league. His vision is insane. And the way he pushes the ball up the floor, we know he can do all that. But watching just a couple of his games in college, I was watching him in college. I'm like, man, this guy damn near plays like LeBron James. He's not as good, obviously, but his game is very similar. He's just left-handed as well. And he grew. What is he, 6'11" now?
That's overstated, though.
He's at least 6'10", though.
He's 6'10", maybe 6'11", but
that's huge.
He's definitely
I don't know, man. I saw the pictures. He might be almost touching 7 foot, man. He's up there.
And his skill set, that is insane. Like obviously it's all health, but I really love the guy. Brady, actually, I've talked to you about this. Are you kind of on board with this Simmons top 5 in 3-4 years in the league if he stays healthy? Oh, shoot. I got to turn his volume up. Fast and furious. Sorry, Brady. My fault.
All good. All good.
My fault. Are you with me on that? Top 5 for Ben Simmons?
I definitely have him as a top 10 player in the next few years.
No. We're not talking top 10. Top 5. That's the conversation.
I would not be surprised at all. He'll be in that discussion for sure.
Yes.
He's got such a I think he is. I mean, I got a lot of flack for this on Twitter, but if he had been in this draft, he would have been. Don't even think about it. Number one pick for me.
Yes.
Even knowing that he had the injury he had last year, it's just when you combine that skill set, that vision, with that height, with the way that the league is moving,
it's not fair.
There's limitless potential when you're 6'11" and have amazing vision and terrific.
Do you know what's crazy, man? I think we're almost spoiled with the talent in the NBA right now because we haven't seen Simmons for a year and we already kind of forgot who he's supposed to be and what he was compared to when he came in. And now, people already kind of forgot him. Rookie of the year. They're talking about Fultz and Tatum, all this. Ben Simmons is going to be amazing this year.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He can legitimately average 17, 6, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's break a sweat.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'll say it now, and I know I'm going to do the Mavericks tomorrow and all that, but I think Dennis Smith Jr. gets Rookie of the Year just because I think he's going to have more opportunities to just score and stuff like that. And we know how Rookie of the Year voting. We know how Rookie of the Year voting goes. I don't think Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be a better player than Ben Simmons. Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be damn good, though.
I mean, he's going to be very good, but you got to taper that because of Rick Carlisle being so demanding as a coach too. So you got to factor that in.
I think we see the shift in Rick Carlisle this year. I think he knows he has to he's tethering his horse to the Dennis Smith train this year. We might see him actually.
I agree.
Hey, James, didn't Rick Carlisle already say he is my starter?
Yeah, then basically back off of that a little bit, but I think that.
But yeah, even as his starter, we know that Carlisle stands. He likes to call every play from the sidelines, and so we'll see if he we'll see if he opens it up some. I think another dark horse is gonna be Donovan Mitchell, baby.
Yes,
I think I love Donovan Mitchell.
It just depends on playing time for him. I think
he's getting it. He's gonna get a lot of it.
Yeah, which I think it's gonna be there. Yeah,
he's going to play over. Once they see him on the floor, he's going to play over Exum and Ingles off the bench.
Such a smooth game. It's just so he makes it effortless. I mean, and I was just watching a little workout video of him, and I was like, "Whoa, this dude is
the Knicks and the Hornets." The Knicks and the Hornets are going to really regret. Even as I think Monk is going to be super sensational too. I don't know if he's not going to be on Donovan Mitchell's level. So I think the Knicks and the Hornets.
He's got to get healthy because that ankle's still.
Question for you though, James, on that is Monk a better fit for Charlotte though? Do you think?
I think they need all the talent they can get in Charlotte. So I get it. Okay. Monk is awesome, and I think they saw that, and maybe they didn't rate Donovan Mitchell as highly as I do. But I mean, like if Donovan Mitchell went to Charlotte and became the player I think he can be, he'd be their best player, and they need that.
Right.
Yeah.
If Walker's your best player, I think that you already capped your ceiling.
That's true.
Did you see? I mean, I don't know how much college you watch, but did you see a decent amount of Donovan Mitchell at Louisville?
No, I don't watch college. I do a lot of like film work before the draft, but I don't watch college ball.
See, there you go. See, I didn't even really watch a lot. When I going into the draft. Pete knows this. I pretty much watch workout videos. That's kind of how I know. And his the workout video and his little I was impressed.
He didn't show the ability to shoot from three in college because of the system, but he can knock down the 3-point shot, and that's where a lot of people were kind of questioning with Mitchell. But I think his ability on both ends of the floor, obviously, already is going to be better than Monk's because Monk, is not a great defender. Monk's problem is going to be that ankle injury that he's coming off of. In workouts, I mean, it's still pretty significant swelling, and they're saying he may not even be ready to start the season.
From a sprain?
Which kind of shocked me because I'm like,
but you know what, James? And you probably know this. Sometimes a sprain can be worse than a break.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
I mean, you can get bone bruises and stuff, and they could linger longer than an actual clean break.
And sometimes that's why. Yep. Yeah, there's been stories. I mean, you can look it up. Like there are times when your sprain is so bad, when you take it into the doctor will break it because that's the best way to get it. Yeah, a sprain can be worse than a break. It's crazy.
And Ntilikina, like they're gonna bring him along super slow. So Mitchell could have actually, if Phil Jackson was out of New York before the draft, they would have not taken Ntilikina.
It would have been Smith or Mitchell.
They would have absolutely taken Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
And that Ntilikina would have fell where he fell, but
yeah. Now we were talking about Ben Simmons, which is good because we had a question in the chat room from my guy Joshua Howe, and he said he's enjoying the discussion here, so we definitely appreciate that. But he wants to know what the odds are of Ben Simmons winning Rookie of the Year.
Very high because, I mean, you got to look at it, if he's going to have the ball in his hands. He's already 6'11". He's going to play the power forward spot. So he's going to be quicker than a lot of power forwards and be able to bully his way inside. He'll get assists, being able to kind of get his way inside. If he can knock down, that 16 to 18-foot jump shot consistently, which he's shown that he can do in recent workouts, then he'll be all right. I think looking overall, the NBA kind of trends more towards winning when they kind of factor in some of the awards as well. So if you look at Dennis Smith, who I think is going to be kind of high, I don't think Dallas is going to have that great of a record. So it just all depends on, kind of where each team falls in the standings. But those would be my two.
What about you, James? What do you think the odds are of Ben Simmons winning Rookie of the Year?
I think pretty low. The team's still going to be very Embiid centric. They still got another high usage guy in Fultz coming along, and I think we know that Simmons, his strengths are more almost. I hate when people say intangibles are strengths, but he's a passer and he's such a big player. He's going to be he's not going to be a big time scorer, and we know for Rookie of the Year that's what they look at.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly. That's why I like Smith.
Junior has the he's the front runner. And I think record doesn't really matter at all for Rookie of the Year. They don't care. They just want to see a bunch of stats.
Yeah.
So he has a decent chance, but I mean, hey, I know that, like I said, they're going to be sharing the wealth in Philly. So that's
and we haven't mentioned this. He may split some votes with Fultz too.
For sure. There you go. So, I mean, he has a decent chance because he's going to be awesome. I think other guys are going to put up bigger numbers.
All right. I'm going to Vin. I'm going to go to.
And so much of his narrative too that we know Lonzo Ball is kind of the front runner, right?
I like.
He's going to get the ball because he plays in LA and
he's going to win MVP, right?
See,
and be in the playoffs and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to deserve it. I don't think he's the better player, but I think he's going to have the hype train going for him from the get go.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Lonzo Ball.
I still got. Yeah. I love Lonzo Ball, as you all know, but
of course you do.
I do, but I think Smith Jr. is the Rookie of the Year right now. That's my front runner. Now I'm going to you, Vin Diesel. Who do you? What about Ben Simmons? What are his odds for Rookie of the Year?
I'm with James. I think they're decent. I think when the season is over, he will widely be considered as the best rookie in the league. But as we all know, that doesn't always correlate with Rookie of the Year.
No.
I think I agree with you guys. Dennis Smith is my pick. I think, as you and James and I have talked about, I'm with James there. I'm not that high on Lonzo, but if he's decent, he has the keys to that system. And I think those kinds of players where they're starting from day one, they're getting 30 minutes from day one, they are kind of the franchise guy from day one.
Yeah, the only thing with him is Lonzo's not going to score a lot of points. In Rookie of the Year voting, I think it's going to hurt him.
Sure, but
I think again the narrative. Yeah,
he has the narrative, and he has the narrative as that, as James likes to make fun of, as that guy who's.
And Pops is gonna be hyping him all year too.
Yep, Pops is gonna be hyping him, and all it takes, even if just Brook Lopez and KCP push the Lakers up to like 30, 32 wins, if Lonzo has like 6 or 7 assists a game, he's going to be getting the credit for that.
Yes, he is. He's going to get all the credit.
So pissed off. I'm so pissed off already about it.
Here's the thing: is I actually really like Lonzo Ball, but I still think Ingram's going to be the better player.
For sure, hands down.
I like Ingram. You're not as high on Ingram as we are.
I don't know about Ingram. I'll have to see
Lonzo's
this year.
the face, regardless.
Yeah, definitely. That's fair. He's definitely the face of the franchise.
You know what's going to piss me off right now? That Brandon Ingram's going to be so much better this year just for natural progression and be used to the league. And all the credit's going to go to Lonzo Ball.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say he made Brandon Ingram a better player.
Look what he turned Brandon Ingram into. It's going to piss me off.
Here's the thing. I didn't say this is a bold prediction for the Lakers, but I'm going to throw it out now for the Lakers because I didn't say it then. Brandon Ingram's going to be most improved player in the NBA this year.
The reason they don't give the second year guys. He's going to be good. And I don't think he deserves it either. He doesn't deserve it.
If he averages, because I think he could be a 25-5 guy.
No way.
I do. I like his game. I may be way out there.
That, I give it to him.
I like his game. That's what I'm saying.
If he averages 25, I give it to him.
That's my prediction.
I'll give him my house if he averages 25 next year.
I gave you my bold prediction for the Lakers, which leads us in to our hot take bold prediction segment here for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to go last, of course, because I know everybody wants to know what mine was, where I have this team finishing overall. But, Brady, I'm going to go to you first. What do you have? You said you had 2 for us.
I have 3, actually.
Oh, go ahead. I like it.
All right.
I want all 3 of them.
First, I think Joel Embiid, if healthy, gets a significant amount of MVP shares.
Okay.
Whoa.
I think he finishes in the 5 or 6 range. If he's healthy, if he plays, at least like 65 games, which is of course a big if.
Yep.
Hey, do me a favor, Brady. You owe me. Hey, hold on. You owe me a couple $100. You just burned my computer down without taking. All right.
Fair enough.
Damn.
I think hot take number 2. I think Dario Saric is going to have a very disappointing year.
I can see that.
All right.
I think he was a little overstated last year because he kind of was given a lot of freedom and flexibility. He's kind of given the keys to the car when there were Embiid injuries and Simmons injuries and whatnot. And I think it kind of hid the fact that he took a fair amount of not that advisable shots. Wasn't that efficient of a scorer, even though he put up a nice amount of points. I'm not very sold on his ability to defend the 4 very well, which both with this team and with this modern era of play is really problematic. So I think people are looking for him to kind of take that step forward and be a really good contributor, and I don't think he's going to be that this year.
Okay.
And third one, I think by the end of the year, Korkmaz is going to have eclipsed Stauskas and Timotei as the backup shooting guard. I think he's going to be a strong part of that rotation by the end of the year.
Wow.
Kind of getting minutes behind JJ.
Hey, Brady coming with the heat tonight. I
actually believe that. I'm a really big fan of his game. He's obviously going to start the year in the G League, but he's 6'7". He's smooth. He has a lot of the potential that JJ Redick shows. So I think he's really going to be able to learn from Redick's tutelage.
I'm glad you mentioned the G League because I was going to say that to Pete. He's a G League candidate to start the season, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
he'll start
absolutely.
the season in the G League, but I think by the end of the year he'll be a strong part of that rotation and the guy who the Sixers are kind of pointing at, going, all right, he's a part of this team going forward.
Nice. Okay, I like it. James, what do you got for me?
Robert Covington ends up on an all defensive NBA team.
Nice.
He gets his recognition.
That was Pete's.
That's all right. I got it too, so that's okay.
And the other one, Dario Saric, is not on the team at the trade deadline. They trade him.
Ooh. Now that's fire right there. There we go. Bringing it. Nice. Why do you think they trade him?
I just think he's such a good player. He's too big for the small role that they kind of have for him. Like there's so many players right now in the rotation.
I think good. He's too good for the team.
I think so. I think he's especially with like also at 4, man. They're gonna have to find some time for like Covington can play them 4.
Trade him to my Bulls.
Even like Luau, did I say it right finally?
Yeah, Timotei,
might get a little time at small ball, eventually a small ball type 4. So I think he's gonna quietly go to the front office because he's a mature player and say, hey guys, this isn't for me, and they're gonna find a way to
trade him to the Bulls for Nikola Mirotic,
which would be awesome. That would be awesome.
I would love it as for my Bulls. If Nikola Mirotic, that's even if the Bulls re-sign Nikola Mirotic. So there is that.
They will. They better. They are the Bulls.
I think they have to. Yeah, that's true. That front office is so screwed up. Pete, it's your turn.
Pete, quick question, Pete. How much cap space does Philly have?
Let me see. I gotta look because I don't know off the top of my head.
Because do they have room if they wanted to sign a Mirotic?
I don't think they have enough to. Well, if you basically want to beat out contract-wise Chicago, I don't know that they. Let me look.
Chicago may not bring him back.
Right.
Though.
I don't think they want to bring him back.
I think they want to start marketing.
No, they're going to do with Mirotic. He'll end up signing the qualifying offer, and then that's going to be what he plays on. I guarantee you, because he's not a lot of teams have space around the league, and Philly has. I'll tell you.
Hey, you know what's funny, James? You probably remember this. You too, Pete. Remember when he came into Chicago a few years ago? He was like supposed to be the best overseas prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he only plays good in the month of March, though.
They've got about 12 to 15 million, but they're basically that's kind of what Robert Covington's extension was going to go into.
And then that's with Redick coming off the books, right?
Well,
Redick's about to book next
this year.
Okay, this year.
This year because Redick's on the 1-year deal, but I mean,
So
if
they'd
you
have to get
look at
Nico
it-
on a 1-year deal too if they got him.
Yeah, because if you look at, I can tell you, Chicago is looking at. They don't have any space left. They're over the cap.
But can't they bring him back since he's their guy?
Sure.
Yeah,
they
I
can
mean,
go
they're
over.
obviously going to bring him back. He's a restricted free agent, but
Yeah.
basically, I mean, that's the only option he has. So you play out this year on the qualifying offer. You're a unrestricted free agent next year.
So
I mean,
you gamble on yourself.
you're gambling on yourself. But I mean, look at, not to get in Chicago, but Mirotic is going to be Mirotic in marketing, because I'm not sold on Bobby Portis, honestly.
And neither am I, not anymore.
And so it's going to be those two kind of battling for each other. And then it's, they're going to be bad. So he could put up numbers again and get money next year. But there's not a lot of, you got to realize there's not a ton of money next summer either, because teams spent out their ass last summer and then overpaid so many guys that, I mean, there's not a ton of money, for free agents next year. So those bigs and stuff are all going to like re-up, like Ennis Cantor and things like that. Those guys are all going to.
Nerlens Noel's going back to Dallas after this year, isn't he?
No, he'll go. I think he's going to try to play himself out of Dallas if he can, because he just
maybe. Well, again, you just said it. You just said nobody has money.
Yeah, nobody has money.
Nobody has money to really.
But there are teams like Atlanta or somebody could potentially go after him and pay him, because Atlanta doesn't really have. Who do they have? Dwayne Dedmon at center.
You don't think Noel doesn't want to be in Dallas, does he?
I mean, Noel kind of the rumor is Noel and Mark Cuban didn't see eye to eye with the contract offer, and Cuban said take it or leave it. I think it was $17 million, and he starting salary, or basically final salary a year, and he was like, I'm worth more than that. Cuban was like, well, you can play it out on this deal, and
Okay.
I mean, he's trying to be realistic in, okay, we're probably going to lose Dirk in another year. We don't have a ton of cap space, beyond that, so we're not going to overpay you to be injured or be a marginal center and be locked in and not have space for anything else to rebuild our team once Dirk's gone. I mean, you have to look at it on both sides. And then Noel is banking on, I'm completely healthy. I'm going to be able to dominate on the defensive end and help you, and pick and roll with Dennis Smith. So I'm worth $22 million, a year salary. So
I agree with them. I think they should have overpaid slightly, a little, just to keep Noel, because I think he'd been perfect for Dennis Smith Jr.
Yep.
So
I mean, I agree with that, but I mean, at the same time,
I get it. You can't really hamstring your franchise long term, right? On the whims of a guy who's played only 60% of all his games. I get it.
Yep. Right. Who was it who said they're high on Bobby Portis?
Me.
I want to know why. I was high on him until
we've seen he can play, and look, Chicago has been such a mess that it's hard for me to pin anything on him. Chicago's been such a mess the last couple of years.
That's
and
fair.
he's a talented player, and he showed it in flashes, and he's young, right? How old is Portis?
He played. Well, he was a 2-year college player, I think. So he's, this would. I mean, if he would have been a 4-year college player, he'd been a rookie this year, I think.
Well, so my point is,
23, 24.
It's hard to pin anything on.
He's 22. Okay, yeah, he is.
There you go. Yeah, it's hard to pin anything on him, dude. I mean, that team's so bad.
Yeah,
they've been so bad the last couple of years. The front office has been a joke, kind of, and it's been so much turmoil. It's hard for me to say. No, what we've seen out of him is the best of him.
You already did Chicago, didn't you? For the team?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had Alana on for that one. Yeah.
They're going to be the worst team in the league by far. So I mean, there's no comparison.
Nice. And I think we're all the Knicks and the Bulls might be the two worst franchises in professional sports right now. Maybe it's the Bulls slightly.
No,
because at least the Knicks were able to draft Porzingis.
Yeah, but they got lucky with that one.
I mean, they got lucky, but still, hey. We're comparing them to the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls, they've taken the King spot as the worst franchise in professional sports, even worse than the Cleveland Browns. But and I'm not a football guy, but, and I do enjoy some of James's football tweets, by the way.
I hate football, dude. It's such a you know what? Don't get me started. So
I won't, because, it's the most popular sport in America, although it's fading, I think, to the NBA. But it is what it is. I get it. The violence, it's fair. Yeah. But now, Pete,
man, brain damage and broken bones. Just do it. Yeah.
Yes. What's not to like?
America loves it. America loves it. But Pete, What do you got for us? Hot takes, bold predictions. I know James got one of yours with Covington.
Yeah, he got the Covington one, but I'm going to say that Philly's going to end the year top 10 defensive team in the league.
Okay.
I like it. I don't think it's too hard to take. I don't think it's very hard to take.
The Covington one was going to be the super hot take, so that you kind of snagged that.
I actually got a few here. One of them not so much. I'm going to save my best one for last, but I'm going to say Ben Simmons is going to be a decent shooter this year. I've seen the tapes. He does not shoot a bad ball.
What is your decent number?
I think he's the guy that, he's going to hit 33, 34% of his threes, which I think for year one, that's what you want from him. And it's going to get better. He does not shoot a bad ball. It's not broke. He does not have a broke shot. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a decent, mid-range shooter. I think he's going to show.
Now, I can see the mid-range, but the three is going to take a while. He's going to be like a 28 to 30%.
I see him about 34% this year from three, which is not great. That's not great, but it's higher than everybody thinks. Yeah,
I was gonna say, I'll give it to you. You've been in the lab shooting the ball.
Yeah, you've seen everybody's seen my little videos when I'm shooting with the gun and all that stuff. He shoots a good ball. That's that's what I do. So I think he's gonna, and I've seen I've seen the little workouts with Simmons with his shooting. I like what I'm seeing. He does not shoot a bad ball. He's got a nice, it's a nice one motion shot now. So I think he'll be fine there because he had a little hitch before, which he's kind of gotten rid of. So that's going to help him on that 3-point shot. Number 2, Joel Embiid. He's going to stay healthy. He's going to play 70-plus games this year, and he'll be on one of the 3 All-NBA teams. I don't think that's much of a hot take if he stays healthy, though.
Now, you guys do realize he's not cleared. He's still not cleared for even individual workout activity.
That's okay. I'm not worried about that right now. He's going to play 70 games.
It's September, and he's not even cleared for 5 on 5.
We're still over a month. Hey, we still got, 35, 36 days till the regular season starts. He'll be fine. Okay. I'm not worried about Embiid. He's going to play the 70 games or more, and he's going to be and if he does, I don't think it's a hot take that he's on one of the 3 All-NBA teams, right?
I think he could be all defensive team too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Now here for the one everyone's been waiting for. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to finish 3rd in the Eastern Conference this year.
Jesus Christ. This is up there with the Knicks in top 2 last year and the Timberwolves.
Hey, I liked what the Knicks were damn near proving me right halfway, in December. They were right there at 3rd. Then they just fell off. Damn, James has his thing muted, so I didn't get his – he's probably screaming and yelling at his computer right now. This fucking idiot right here. It's got him 3rd.
I will fully apologize on video
I got him 3rd.
to you if they hit 3rd. And I am a diehard
And now
fan.
remember though, this is if they stay healthy. James, you heard it. I got the Philadelphia 76ers 3rd. I got him 3rd.
Hey, stay where you are. I'm calling the authorities right now, and I'm sending
right to.
I am sending healthcare services. I think you're having a stroke or something to say that. Yeah,
I am a lifelong Sixers fan, and I couldn't even put them in the top 5.
You couldn't even. You don't even have them in the playoffs.
I know, but I couldn't even put them in the top 5 in a best case scenario.
I said this. Brady saw me comment on this, and this was maybe in June. I said it. I don't know. They got horses now. Remember, with just Joel Embiid, they were a playoff team with him on the floor. All of them healthy. Add all these horses. This is a play. They're top 3.
Now you got to throw out a disclaimer though. You love young players on young and up and coming.
I really do. That's a fair disclaimer. I really do. Now, the only reason last year I had Minnesota in the conference final was just to be. I didn't. I thought they were. I had them 6th in the West last year. But I had him in the conference final just to make my prediction interesting. I really didn't too much believe it. But you
had those Knicks up there.
I did have the Knicks 2nd. Like I said, middle of December they were
Rose MVP.
I did not. Hey, I'm not on the Derrick Rose MVP bandwagon. That wasn't me. I don't think he's a bad NBA player now. He's just not what he was. I don't think he's bad.
Not good.
I think he's a decent NBA player. He's not awful.
He's decent, but he's not.
That's I don't think he's bad. A guy, he shot 47, 48%.
Well, Cleveland better get ready because he's their starting point guard and opening night.
Average 17 points a game. That's not a bad. I never thought Monte Ellis.
Hold on. now Monte did it on teams that actually were like, even though they were bad teams, they kind of
No, and I never thought Monte was a bad player.
No, but they made the playoffs
Rose
and stuff.
doesn't pass to anybody.
Monte made the playoffs and stuff at least.
Not when he was putting up those huge numbers though. They were bad when he put up the huge numbers.
But we saw him actually do stuff before.
Exactly. And
I think Rose put up those numbers on a team that was atrocious. So I mean, it's hard. It's easy to be the best looter in a riot. You know what I'm saying?
I'd take Porzingis over Rose.
Anybody would take Porzingis over Rose.
And I'd take Carmelo Anthony over Derrick Rose.
Anyone should do that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a hard argument.
I mean, I don't know what happened to that New York team because they actually looked. I mean, they were third, fourth in December in the East. I don't know what happened.
They were doing that thing where they win by 2, win by 3.
But you know what the problem was? They were on that West Coast. They went on that West Coast road trip. They were doing really well. They had Phoenix, and then they had Denver on as their next two, and they lost both of them. And that just after that, they just tanked.
Well, no, the problem was that they were a bad team. They were a bad basketball team.
Yeah, they were badly constructed to play the triangle, which never was going to work out in the modern NBA.
Hey, I'm biased though because I love Porzingis. Maybe that's what it was.
I mean, the thing about everybody, that's the other thing. Like, people have Porzingis averaging 25 this coming year. Like, it's not going to happen.
20, I could see 20.
Yeah, but a 20 on a bad team. If Melo's gone, who else is going to score? Damian Dotson?
If Melo was gone, then I wouldn't be a shock if Porzingis averaged 25. If Melo
you're playing with Ron Baker, if you can't put up 20 points.
I'm saying.
So it's easy to say, but the defense is going to be keyed in on him. So it's going to be tough, right? Yeah. He's going to get swarmed every time he touches the ball.
And that's exhausting for a young player.
I mean, I still think he could get if he's the only offensive guy they've got with Melo not there and no Derrick Rose this year. I could see 25 a game. It wouldn't. I don't think it wouldn't shock me. I'm not saying he'll do it, but it wouldn't shock me.
I don't think you understand how hard it is to score 25 a game.
It's very hard.
Very hard to score 25 a game.
It is hard to just take 20 shots a game in the NBA. And we're
what did he average? 17 last year.
Yeah, 17 something.
But he took what? What was he? The third option, basically.
Yeah, but you put him the first option. He doesn't have the strength.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why James made a good point about how it's hard to just take 20 shots a game. Like as much as
20,
and I love Porzingis as a player. I just think he's a good, very good 1B. He's not a 1A player.
Who?
Porzingis.
Oh my God!
I don't.
Come on, Pete.
I'm not right now. 2 years from now, he will be.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Okay. Fair.
I think.
But also, not only is it hard to take 20 shots, but he's an interior defender, so you have to be able to avoid foul trouble long enough to be able to. And
he does tend to get in foul trouble from time to time.
Yeah. He's a good defender, but he'll get into foul trouble, and that makes it a lot harder to score 25.
Absolutely.
I mean, who is going to take pressure off of him to not take bad shots? If Melo's not there,
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean. Willie Hernan-Gomez doesn't create offense himself.
Neil Aquila's not going to play much.
Frank Nicotine's not going to play much.
No. So your point guard is basically going to be Ramon Sessions.
I think it's good. I think Sessions, but I think eventually it's Ron Baker.
What? That is my cue to leave when we're discussing Ramon Sessions or Ron Baker.
You know what? Hey, let's wrap this up then. Let's wrap this up then because it's gotten so bad we're getting to Ramon Sessions, and that's something we don't want to talk about. Right. I agree. I'm with James on that one.
I almost threw up just now. So let's get
don't mess up your computer screen. I don't want that to happen, man. You got to buy a new machine then. Pete, you haven't been on with us in a while. Mm-hmm. We're gonna try to get you on more often. I mean, you got to let all the folks remind them where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at Pete Toll NBA. So it's PETETOAL NBA. I have a lot more free time coming up. So.
Our question for you: are you going to be tweeting some 2K stuff since we got 2K18 coming out on Thursday night?
2K18 is coming out. You're going to see a revamped game. That's all I can say. It's going to be a hell of a lot better than 17. A lot of work done behind the scenes from a lot of different people. That's on the positive end of things. For guys like Gonzo, who's skeptical. Every year, I think he's going to be pleased with the direction that the
just to let everyone know, Pete knows people who know people.
Yep. So that's all. Yep. That's all I'm going to say.
Pete knows people who know people.
Yep.
All right, I think that's going to wrap us up. Everybody, we all know we can, Brady Klopp for NBA, then James Hollis, at Snotty Drippin'. I think he's mentioned that all the times he's been on. But we'll be back tomorrow night. We're gonna do the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow night. So everybody be on the lookout for that. Brady, can you do the Mavericks tomorrow night?
I don't think I can do them tomorrow, but I could do anything later on in the week.
Outstanding. Okay, that works. Pete, do you want to do the Mavericks tomorrow? Are you free?
If you do them like later in the
that's what I'll do. I'll do about the same time.
Yeah, but if you can do about 9, that'll work. I can.
Yeah,
I'll
do it. I can make that happen.
All right, cool.
All right, outstanding. I'll talk. That's what we got. We'll do the Mavericks tomorrow. So we'll be back 9 Eastern, 9:30 Eastern, around that time. We never start on time, So I can't give you an exact time. The links will all be tweeted out on Twitter. You guys know where to follow us. But until tomorrow night, we'll see y'all.